Okay, this is Mr. Urban. What I'm going to do with you today is I'm going to do the White Before Your Eyes lab with you. And this is probably for the students who need to make up their lab. But here's what you need to finish up the White Before Your Eyes lab. You're going to need this paper right here called White Before Your Eyes. You're going to need a pencil. And there's a second page that looks just like this that you're going to need. I have the following materials in front of me. I've got sugar, I've got baking powder, I've got cornstarch, and I have baking soda. I've got a container of water with a stirring stick. I've got a ice cube tray, and then I have some liquids. I have water, I have iodine, and I have vinegar. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in my tray here, in the first well, I'm going to take sugar, and I'm going to put some sugar in the first tray. I'm going to put some sugar in the second tray, and I'm going to put some sugar in the third tray. Now, if you want to see what the sugar looks like, you can see it's white, it's kind of grainy. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put some water in with this, and I'm going to stir periodically. So I need to get in 60 drops of water. So I'm just going to go ahead and count here. There's 5, 6, 7. Okay, I got 60 drops of water in there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir this up, and you'll notice while I stir it up, it looks to me like most of the sugar is dissolving, and it is. So you can see there the sugar is dissolving in the water. So what you'll need to do is you'll have to write that on your data table that the sugar dissolves in water. Okay, and that's not much of a chemical change at all. Next, I'm going to take vinegar, and I'm going to put vinegar into the middle one. So you'll notice I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, right there. 19, 20. There you go. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stir this up. And it looks like there is no reaction, as you can see right there. No chemical reaction with the sugar and the vinegar. Next, what I do is I'm going to go to the third one, and I'm going to put 5 drops of iodine in there. 5 drops. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to stir it up. Let's see what happens here. You can see it's like a reddish brown color, but that's really the color that it should be because that's the natural color of iodine. So as far as the sugar goes on your data table, there's no chemical changes whatsoever, but you should write down what you saw on each one of these. So no chemical changes in those. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to move on here, and we're going to get to some other wells. And I'm going to put in next, since I'm done with the sugar, I'll put that aside. Next I'm going to do baking powder. So I'm going to put 1 drop of baking powder in there. I'm going to put another baking powder right there. And you can't see it on the camera, but I'm putting it in the third one right there. Now, if you take a look at the baking powder, you'll see that the baking powder is nice and fine. It's white. It's a solid. And that's what it looks like. So that's your baking powder. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat the same exact procedure, except this time I'm going to use the water first. So I do 60 drops of water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and there's my 60 drops of water. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stir it up. And you can see when I stir it up, it kind of looks like milk, but there's not a lot going on there. There's no bubbling going on. There's no expected color change or unexpected color change. It just looks like kind of milky like that. So nothing happened with the water. Okay, let's try vinegar once. We're going to put our vinegar drops in there, 20 drops. We'll move it so you can see it right there. There's 18 drops. I got 2 more drops to go. 19 and 20. Now you'll notice with the baking powder and the vinegar, this time there's a chemical reaction, because watch what happens when I stir this in. You'll see it start to bubble up even more. So right here's a chemical reaction. This one is foaming like crazy, and it's reacting. You can tell the difference. Okay? There you have it. Okay, now let's go to the third well. Let's do the baking powder along with iodine, the 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we need to stir this up. Now notice this time we're getting a much different color than we had before. We're getting a blackish color. And I'm even going to add in, just to show you, I'm going to add in an extra drop of the iodine. Look at how black that is. Okay? This, I think, it's not an expected color that I think we should see. So you might want to put that on your data table. Okay, so that takes care of our baking powder. Now we're going to go on, and we're going to do cornstarch. So our cornstarch is right here, and I'm going to take it out of the container. I'm going to do 1 scoop of cornstarch there, 1 cornstarch there, and a 3rd one there. Okay. I'm going to add some water to it, 60 drops. Okay, and there's my 60 drops. So next what I do is I'm going to stir it up. And then you can see right there, there's no real bubbles coming out of it. It's not really changing color. And it kind of looks like milk. There's really not much going on at all. Okay. Next we're going to do our 20 drops of vinegar. One, two. I got 18, I need 2 more. 19, 20. Okay, there's my 20 drops of vinegar. We're going to stir this around to see what happens. Okay. And it's getting very thick, but I don't see any kind of color changes, and I don't see any kind of bubbles or gas being given off. Okay. Alright, now we go to our third one, which you can see in there, and we're going to add in 5 drops of iodine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to stir this. I might even add in a couple more. Okay, there's our, that's what we got right there. Now you can see it's almost like it's taken up. It looks like I didn't even add any in at all, but there's no fizzing, and there's really not much of a change. Okay, so that takes care of our cornstarch. Now we have one more left, and that is the baking soda. So I'm going to put some baking soda in this well. I'm going to put some baking soda in the second one, and I'm going to put some baking soda on the third one. Okay, next I take my water in the first well here, and I'm going to add in 60 of water. Okay, there's my 60 drops of water. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir it up. You notice I don't really have any fizzing. I don't have any kind of bubbling. No color change. Not much happening at all there. Okay. So we'll move on, and we're going to add some vinegar to the next one. 20 drops. Okay, you can see right there that with every drop I add in, it fizzes like crazy. So I don't think I have to say too much about that. That there is a chemical reaction going on there. And finally, iodine, 5 drops. Okay, there's my 5 drops of iodine. I'm going to stir it around a little bit just to see what happens. And you can see here that with the iodine, there's not much that happens either. So, there you have it. I did the lab for you. You could see there's all of the wells right there. Okay. Now your job is to take your papers, and while we were adding these in and watching them, you should have filled out this chart right here. And now that you've watched it, you should be able to fill out the 4 substances you tested. And finally, you'll be able to fill out this right here based on your data table. Thank you for watching the video on how to do our lab called White Before Your Eyes.